Hey YouTube! So, I've had this in before. I swapped the pickups on this guitar. This is, I can't remember what it's called, like a... There's definitely a fish that looks like this. Is it a batfish? Something you get in a saltwater tropical tank. Very much has this exact colour. It's a sort of swirly type thing. Done a little bit better than the way I can do it myself. I will admit that. I think it's a Mexican. Made in Mexico. Fender Special Edition. MX13, so 2013, can't remember the exact number of it, but I had this in and I believe this is a bare knuckle pickup in the bridge, a Hot Rails, and the guy has given me it back a year later, whatever it is. He never plays it because he doesn't like this pickup, so I've got he's got a Fender one, just a Fender one. It doesn't actually have a metal plate in the back, which is normal, maybe, don't know, and also a set of, I can't remember what he said these were. They were fancy ones. I don't know if it was neodymium or some crazy unobtainium type material they were made of. I can't remember what he said. What he said it was. I might even say on the back. A Fender TLBR Rev A. Oh, that's a crazy looking pickup. It's kind of like it looks like 3 coils. Don't know, but yeah. So he wants me to do some pickup swapping. This is part 1, which has still got the bare knuckle in it. This guitar, which I'm not sure, last time I had it, I think I literally just changed the pickup and gave it back to him. It's got a high fret, so it's a bit up here. One of these frets is out, so when I've got the strings off, I will sort that out. I'll do a video, do a city downy video of me changing the pickups over. So this is kind of like part 1, which I'll just splice them all together, of demonstration of this pickup in it just now. So this is the neck pickup, which I'm not going to change just now. Just playing through the laney, that, no pedals. Bridge pickup, which is very loud compared to the neck pickup. I think the neck pickup's just the original one from this guitar. In. So I can remember what it was I played on it. Both pickups are. Get rid of it, but put this pickup much lower down. Joyo US Dream pedal. Annoying me now, I've noticed that it's buzzing because of the high fret up here somewhere. I'll play. Neck. So basically primary, I think here is neck pickup. It's a huge difference in volume between the two. Some of that could probably have been, you could probably take that away by lowering the bridge pickup a bit and possibly put in a coil split to make it a single coil, but then what's the point in having the humbucker? So I can kind of see why he wants it to go back. So the next thing I'm going to do will be me sitting there swapping over the pickups. I'll probably do a video of me swapping over the pickups. Should be pretty easy. Telecasters aren't too bad. I will need to take the strings off, take the bridge off, take this plate off, disconnect it, reconnect the new pickup, put it back together again. Shouldn't be too difficult. And then I'm going to do this exact same video again using the original Fender pickup, and then I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to swap in, put in these other pickups are, both of them. So I'm leaving the neck pickup in just now, put in the Fender pickup. That'll be the next time you see me standing here, and then I will go back into it and swap over the pickups again, and then see what he wants. And the best thing in this is I'm going to charge him for a pickup swap for each one. Yay! Money, money, money. Catch you later. Hey YouTube, I'm back. So this guitar, this was absolutely stunning. Hopefully the volume's not changed that much. I'm actually probably a bit close to that mic. Forgot to put on my Mad Malco t-shirt again. So Iron Maiden it is. I'll put my Mad Malco t-shirt on for the next bit. So I'm going to swap out the bridge pickup in this, which actually is going to take a little bit longer than I thought. So this might end up being quite a longish video. Maybe one day I'll learn how to do the speedy up thing. The problem with doing that is I can't help but keep talking the whole time. So I'm just taking these strings off using my string winder. I'm going to put them back on again. But the problem with this going to be, it's not a case of just wiring the pickup. I've got to put the pickup in, and I've got a funny feeling I'm going to have to undo all the saddles in order to get the bridge off to put the new pickup in, which is going to be, it's one of the things that's not so good about a Telecaster. And I'm going out of focus. That's okay, I'm back. Yeah, so the great thing about a Telecaster is you can get at all the electrics just by taking off this knob. So the actual connect up the pickup's not that hard. It's the actual physical taking the bridge off so that you can get at the pickup and take it out. Might not be quite as easy because normally the pickups are behind the hole. Also I noticed on this guitar, I'm going to do it just now while I'm here, there's a high fret that's causing it to buzz out. So I will get my trusty string rocker, which I should probably buy a good one. I bought one from China which looks the same as your sort of Stu Mac one, but it was like £2. And this side here isn't straight. The other ones are alright. So I've got like another thing. I think this thing here, which I use most of the time, but when you get up to the high frets, this is too big. This doesn't span. It spans too many frets. Oh, maybe it doesn't actually. I'm going to find the wobbly one. That one. This one's got more angles on it. Yeah, that one there is high there. That's the side that doesn't work. It's really annoying to me that that side doesn't work. I just noticed it when I was checking out guitars. It's like, how can every single fret be high? And it's like, it's this one. Yep. Not quite. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it a wee bit of a mark for a marker pen so I don't end up filing the wrong one. Yep. And we're going to double check it's definitely the right one. Really just that half of it. It's kind of tempted just to try and tap it in with a dapping hammer, but I can't actually. It looks alright. I don't know what I did with the hammer. I've got one, but I don't know what I did with it. Maybe it's in the garage. Hold on, I'll pause this and I'll try and find it and see if I can find it and see if it does the job. Back in maybe 2 minutes. If I can't find it, I'll just file it. That doesn't sound very professional, does it? I will find it. Right there. Right there. Yeah, I'm going to have to file it. The dapping hammer's not. It's sometimes it's an easy fix, but that generally works more on like cheaper guitars. This is this is a Fender Mexican, so it's quite an expensive one. And normally these frets don't pop out, so it's just not been finished properly at the factory. So I'm just going to take a very gentle scoring, and I've done quite a lot of this, so you might be going, oh my god, you've not taped off the fretboards or anything like that. It's a very little amount. It's not a very high fret, it's just enough to be annoying. And I'm being incredibly careful not to score the... And that was all it needed. But it's like the old story I always talk about with the engineer who was trying to fix they built I think it was like a big Titanic type boat, a big cruise liner, and they just could not get the engine to work. And there was this one guy who was really, there was one guy who could fix it, but it cost $10,000 or something like that to fix it. So the big bosses were like, well, I'm not paying $10,000, we'll get cheaper folk in to do it. So they did, and you know, for a couple of grand a time, and they kept, none of them could fix it, but they kept having to pay it. Eventually they went, right, we need to get this ship going, so we'll get the 10 grand guy in, the expert, and he came in, turned it on right, walked him out for half an hour, and then got out his claw hammer and went bang, and then the whole thing was fixed. And the boss was like, how can that cost 10 grand? It's like, could you send me an itemised bill? And then so he got his itemised bill in the post, and it was a hammer tap, 25 cents, knowing where and how hard to hit the hammer, 9,900, yeah, which is an element of this sort of thing as well. I know where to, I'm just using one of these things to guide it. Well, I'm just using a bit of wire wool just to make that, to get that back to, so you would never know I've touched it. So that doesn't take long, but you do need to know what to do and how hard to do it. Yep, so that should have sorted that. Right, now on to the actual job. Right, so how many screws are there in this? 3. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to, I think I maybe won a watch here. I think I'm going to be able to take these screws out without actually taking out the saddles. Without adjusting the saddles, I can kind of push them over to the side to get at it. So that's screw 1. I could use the drill for this, but this is a very nice looking guitar. I don't want to ruin it. Come on, screw, come out. Right, so that's 1. Got a wee plastic tub to put all the screws from this guitar in. And that should work if I do it this other side as well. Sorry, it's a bit dark. I could probably turn the light on, but it's probably not that bad. Maybe turn the light on later on. The daylight coming in the window was obscuring everything. Oh, hang on, there's 4 screws. But there's enough room for me to get in at these, just pushing the saddles out of the way. It's a 6 saddle bridge. Not the classic telly. I like the classic telly, the one that you can never intonate properly, because that's part of what I suppose you could simulate that by just not intonating one of these properly. You know, you just put the E and the A together, and you put the D and the G together, and then aim for the middle. It's really only the middle 2 strings that really ever seems to be a bit of a problem. Kind of E and the A go well, okay together, and the B and the E go okay together. It's when you get the other ones. Take off this plate. I'll have to charge up the soldering iron. When I say charge up, I mean plug in. And this will have been expertly soldered because it was me that did it before, so it should be fine. Well, that's heating up. I can take this out and probably just disconnect this pickup quite easily, and then put the new one in before I even bother disconnecting it. This is held on with rubber, wee bits of rubber surgical tubing, which actually I thought I should probably just buy some of that. I bet you it costs about 20 pence for rubber surgical tubing, and that can be like vintage correct rather than using a spring. I suppose technically it maybe have a little bit of dampening effect on it. Right, so there's that pickup it. Whatever it is, it's got the cloth covered wire, which I'm not really that much of a fan of. Right, so here goes the fender pickup, which has its own little bits of rubber tubing in a wee bag, but I'm probably just going to, if these screws are going to fit, I'll just use them. Yeah. Is that? Right. Okay, so I'm going to have to extend that wire, annoyingly. It's been cut. This must, I don't know what kind of guitar this came out of, unless it was connected up slightly differently. It doesn't actually have the right parts. It's just the same thread of screw. If it is, I'm just going to leave the screws in. Yeah, same thread of screw. As I said, this doesn't have a metal base plate in the back, which I thought was a Fender Telecaster thing. The brass plate was one of the things that made it a tele pickup, but apparently not. You can actually buy the metal plates for peanuts from China. It's just a brass plate, so I don't think it makes any difference whether it's a Chinese brass plate or a Fender brass plate. It's the same thing, probably. Technically, I'm going to extend this wire, even though I could just tie it onto the earth wire on the back of the bridge, because the black wire is just earth. But I'm going to extend it so it reaches into the control cavity. Just because. There we go. Nice and easy to get to. Just find out which wire is which. That's the cloth coloured one. That's pretty easy. So it's that one there, which I shall remove with my industrial type tweezers. There's an awful lot of wires in this, implying that there's an awful lot of excess wires. And everything's earthed, which is kind of... Last time I did one of these City Downy videos, I was doing my shocking bird, which I showed that you'd only needed really one wire in a Telecaster. There's not really much point in having all these things connected. I don't know why though. There's probably some vintage specific. Right, it goes on to that one there. Cloth wires aren't as easy to use. So as you to remember, it's that one on the switch that I need to put this new wire onto. I'll just get rid of this pickup, which has been what's going on here? Okay, that's maybe a bit of a lesson learned there. Okay, so that was the other pickup in this has got cloth wire on it as well. So if I just put this back on, I'll put this one back on and then take off the correct wire. I just looked at it and saw it was I wonder if I pulled off the correct. This has got a bit of tape around it because of this stupid cloth wire, which doesn't. It's not as easy to use as normal wire. It looks a bit like maybe me that put the tape on it though, so I'm not going to be slagging that off too much. Did I disconnect the? I did. Right. Okay. So that's black wire out, white wire out. Yeah. Right. So that's that pickup out. You can see the length of the wires on that pickup compared to the length of the wires on the one I just put in it, being nothing like as much. That black one's just not long enough. It's technically I could just solder it onto that earth wire, but I'll do it properly. So bit of wire. I'm going to use red wire because it's red wire that I've got. That means I suppose you know it's been changed, and I've got this packet of it turned out to be really handy. I don't know if I've actually showed it yet. Melty sleeve stuff. That's probably not the technical name for it. I can't remember what it's called. Heat shrink wrap. Heat wrap shrink. Something like that. I got a big bag of it. I got all different types of it's all different diameters and stuff like that, so one of them will just fit over this, which will give a nice seal. Failing that, you can just use tape. But the heat shrink wrap looks more professional, and you can get to choose a nice colour for it as well. Just put a bit of solder on the end of this wire. This is for the joining, just extending the earth wire a little bit. And then look through this, and it's get a bit that looks about the right diameter. Black. Is that good enough? That's good enough. because I'm really cheap, I reckon that I don't really need to have a bit that long, so I'm going to cut it in half. So I've got another bit for when I run out later. That's me saved to probably maybe even as much as like a third of a penny, something like that. Doing that. I think it was only a couple of quid for the packet, but that's the way they do it. And then there's still solder on the end of that wire, so I should be able to just connect that on there and then melt it over the top, and that should be pretty easy. Extended, and I slide this over the junction like that, and then I will melt it with a lighter. Yep. I've seen folk do it with a soldering iron, it doesn't seem to work as well as a lighter does. It does suit it up a little bit. I've not really cut that wire, so that's well long enough. Well long enough now. Bada bing. That's just the earth wire, so the earth wire's red now for this pickup. But that'll be, even if it doesn't like this pickup, it means it'll fit into more guitars anyway, having the extended wire, and I know it doesn't make any difference to the sound, having an extended wire against an unextended wire. No. When you look at how far round, you know, the wire that goes round the pickup goes round it like 10,000 times, so there's probably like 2 meters of wire in the actual pickup, of really, really thin wire, so, you know, adding a couple of inches or 6 inches of much thicker wire, it makes no difference whatsoever. No difference whatsoever, but I'm sure because technically it must make a difference, you'll get folk who'll say, oh, short wires is the way to go. It's like, yep, it makes a difference, it does, but it's such a low percentage of difference that nobody could ever hear it. And if they can, it's a placebo type effect, like a lot of things with guitars. The old tone wood debate. Oh, the maple sounds really bright, does it? Is that because you know it's maple, you can hear it being bright? Or if you didn't know it was maple, would you know? Poking wires through holes, always fun. There's one through it. Yellow one through it, right, get my new red cable through it. Oh, there we go, yep. 1, 2. Right. So, new pickup is in. Bridge going back on. I've not paused this because I was going to be doing it anyway, so this way I get company, somebody to talk to. Just talking to myself. Honestly, when I'm doing this on my own, I don't talk all the way through it. But this will probably be going out tomorrow, so it'll be a bit of a Saturday afternoon cooking or whatever it is you're doing. Tidying up, and have me just down in the background, just rabbiting away, and then have the joy of not actually having to be here and being stuck with me. You can actually just turn me off. Yay! Actually today I'm painting a bass in the garage. It's due for another coat just now. I've painted the West Tone bass, which is a West Tone Concord, put stupid amount of pickups in it. That thing has been fighting me at every single stage of the way, just making it so difficult. The plan, the plan itself just gained arms and legs. I got scratch plate, which I've talked about this a lot, but I'm not doing anything else anyway just now. So I got aluminium checker plate stuff. Dirt bar, I believe it's called, or tread plate, or it's got a million different things, different names. You've seen it on my EB6. I cut it up with a jigsaw, and I had this West Tone bass I've had for years that I've never actually played. Someone had stripped it, all the wood off it, put it had left-handed tuners on it, which was really annoying, so I've never actually played it. And it didn't have a scratch plate. Well, it did have a scratch plate, but it was a rubbish one. It was the guy made it out of leatherette, and it's like it looks as bad as that sounds. Yes, it was sort of brown, fake PVC leather scratch plate wrapped around cardboard. It was like so not what I wanted. And now I've eventually got the, again, which I always say is I'm putting solder onto the wire before I connect the wire. Thus it will stick and I don't need to pour solder on like a lunatic, which I always find in guitars when someone's tried to do their own soldering. It's like, it looks like they've I'll put a bit of solder on the end of that, that's fine. So where's my tweezers? Yeah, so now it's got a tread plate scratch plate which I have painted black. I was going to do that with the EB6 but I just never got down to it. I actually made it so it was quite easy to do. There's actually nothing mounted on the EB6 scratch plate. It's like held on with, I don't know, 4 screws and then you can slide it off all over the pickups. The pickups are all body mounted, which is kind of what's actually all these connected up. So many extra wires in here. Maybe it just looks like there's a lot. Yeah. And then basically I'm just going to tune this back up again and then it should be working. And hopefully, I think this pickup will sound really good. I don't know if this is the original pickup from the guitar. Although the chap said that I gave you the other pickup and it's like, nope, I don't remember having a Fender pickup, so I don't know where the other pickup is. The original one before I put the bare knuckle in. Or I assume it was a bare knuckle. It doesn't actually say on it, does it? It doesn't. It looks like I think it's a hot rail. It's got two metal bars on it, which implies it is a hot rail, but it kind of looks to be, I don't know. Fun anyway. Oh, it's got some chips in it, this guitar. I thought it looks brand new, but clearly not. I'm pretty sure it wasn't me that put the chips in it. And then the joys of it, so much easier just to put new strings on rather than keep the old ones on, but I'm putting the old ones back on again. It'll make it a better test for which is the best pickups. But normally if I was doing this, I would normally put a bit of tape around the, just tape all the strings onto the neck, but because I had to take the bridge off, I couldn't do it with this one. String winder. Also the truss rod, the neck on this was too straight. I gave it a little bit of relief in it. That's because literally I was just giving it and saying, it was like, here, swap the guitar, I'm trying to make it cheap. As cheap as possible by not doing unnecessary things, but I should really have a check over these things and give everyone the option, go look. Really want a wee bit of a setup as well. And again, what I was saying with that West Tone the other day, because this is quite a good guitar, even when it's set up badly, it still plays alright. Just not anything like at its full potential. And I much prefer this to any other Mexican telly I've played. Just because of the colour on it, it makes it a bit more interesting. I'm not one for the sort of... Although I do think the blondes, the blonde original telly does look pretty cool. If I was buying a new one, I wouldn't be buying that one because that's the one that everybody's got. And I'm different from everybody else. I'm not like everybody else. I don't want to jinx it and say I've so far not stabbed my fingers with the end of these strings, but I'll say it anyway, so that it makes it, you can have a wee laugh at my expense when I do stab myself in the finger with the end of one of these strings. It's getting to the dangerous ones now, the thin strings, because they're they're much more likely to break the skin. I've not bothered checking to make sure the pickup's wired in correctly yet, because on a telecaster it's dead easy to take that control plate off, so it's possible that the wires are the wrong way around, so it'll be out of phase when they're in the middle position, and that's dead easy to swap. I'll just swap the red and the yellow wires around. The red being the earth goes onto the back of the pot or anything else that's earth, and I can't remember what colour it was it white? No, it was yellow. The yellow one just goes onto the switch, so I'll just swap them over. That's pretty easy. Three-way switches aren't actually that easy, aren't as easy to wire up as five-way switches are, because you need to put an extra wire to jump the two sides together. This is the stabby finger bit. Where's it? I'll try and do it without. Obviously I'll try and do it without injuring myself, but putting bulb strings back in a car is always a nightmare. Oh, I've got to put it in the wrong side of the tuner. Come on, stay in the hole, stay in the hole. Ah! And just think about when you're doing this sort of thing. I've done this hundreds of times and I'm getting annoyed and it's taking ages, so when you're trying to do this for the first time, expect it to get more annoyed and it to take even longer, or you might just be lucky. But you got to assume you're not going to be lucky. But the way to do this stuff is just to practice. Buy yourself a, or even better, get yourself one of those Yamaha ERG 121 guitars for 30 quid that needs parts done on it, and fix it up and then make it play really good, because those guitars can be totally made to play amazing, and then go everything you learn from doing that, then apply it to your Fender or whatever. Don't be messing about trying to solder stuff on your first attempt on your dream guitar that you've got. Because the thing is that even if you buy one of those, like the Yamaha ones that's got, you know, bits missing or needs wiring, you can buy it for, you know, under 50 quid, and then when it's working it's probably worth 80 quid, so that kind of pays for, you can actually earn some money doing it. Or you might end up just keeping it because they are really good guitars. They're just really bland. You end up doing... There's not enough string on that. That's really annoying. Been cut too tight. Wasn't me that put these strings on. I was trying to put extra wraps onto the E string. What I've got to do, so I've got to try and get it all the way through the hole. So it's got enough to catch on. And I think that this whoever put these on might be used to locking tuners you get, which you don't need to have any wraps on them. Whereas on these you do need a wrap, otherwise the string doesn't grip onto the post. Ideally you want to have 3 or 4 wraps, but if you're looking at the high E string, I'm quite happy having half a dozen wraps. I'd rather have too many than not enough, because then this happens where the string just jumps out the hole and you're tuning it up, and then you end up getting more annoyed. The next point after this is I'm just going to extend the string using another old string, but I'm trying to avoid that. Right, so there's probably enough there to get Oh. Leave bigger bits of strings on the end of your guitar. Then again, some people just go, oh, you just put new strings on it. Yeah, of course you can. I didn't get given new strings. I don't have any just now. I need to get back into Blitzkrieg shop and buy some more roto sounds. I might do something unorthodox here. How am I going to do it? We'll see if we can. What I'm thinking of doing right now is I'm putting a clamp on the end of it. Right. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I was going to use my monkey clamp then. I remembered I've got forceps, which I found on the beach. I don't know, fine. I think it was a doctor that used to have one of the other chalets. Oh, come on. I used to use it for, I think you used these for fishing tackle or something like that. Oh, come on. There's the first stab. It wasn't even the string I'm working on. Right. Is it just going to jump out again? Getting fed up now. I wonder if I've got at the end of an old bit of string to put on this. Or do I just try and do it again? And this time I'll just pull tons of it through with the forceps so there's absolutely no chance that it's going to pull out. It's just the joys of working with guitars. And obviously if you, any shop would just immediately put new strings on it and not bother with this faffing about, but I do it my own way. Try not to say the B word here. That means I can, it changes the way I can put adverts in this video. Say what I really think about this string. Yes, that B word is bother. Right. Forcept. And then two wraps. That'll be it, sliding it through the hole. Come on! I made it to E. Yay! Half an hour, really? check it's working, I suppose. Yep, to me that sounds phased. This pickup needs to come up a fair bit. So I'm going to have to swap the wires over. It's not the way around I thought it was going to be. So that probably more likely means that the neck pickup's been put in backwards to match that bare knuckle. Because humbuckers tend to be the other way around from normal pickups, and I don't know why. Single coils. Whenever you put a humbucker in a Strat, it's always at phase. Yeah. So fate in the middle. That buzziness has gone away. The problem with the fret thing, right? So this is. I've got a funny feeling this guitar, this video is going to be more than one part. It's already, it was 5 minutes at the start, 40 minutes in the middle, 5 minutes at the end. Well, okay, I can probably do that. I don't feel like doing the extra bit now. Putting the other pickups in today, I'm kind of a bit cheesed off with that wire. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the red and the yellow wires round. Luckily I didn't turn off the soldering iron, so that's only going to take 2 seconds. I will unplug it from the amp though. Hot, hot, hot. This is quite an expensive soldering iron. Normally I wouldn't advise leaving the soldering iron on for as long as I have there. It might get very, 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 very hot. This one's temperature regulated. So basically I would just unplug it. Start again. So I'm just going to put the red wire where the yellow wire was and put the yellow wire where the red wire was. Which is just as well I extended that wire, because if I hadn't extended this wire and I'd instead put the earth wire from the pickup straight onto the earth wire for the bridge, which I could have done, I wouldn't be able to swap them over like this. I would maybe be looking at it going, oh, rather than taking the bridge off, I'd maybe be swapping the neck pickup round. Doesn't matter which way round pickups go. Maybe just as well with this one not having the metal base plate on it, because then it would have mattered. Because the metal base plate connects to the bridge connects to the earth, and the knee bone connects to the elbow bone. So now it should be, so middle pickup, bridge pickup, louder in the middle, and then neck pickup, yes. So that's that done. Again, the joys of a telecaster. Doing that sort of thing on a telecaster involves taking out 2 screws and switching this plate about. On a Stratocaster it involves undoing all the strings, taking off the scratch plate, fixing it, stupidly trying to squeeze the scratch plate back on again while and then poking the wires so they fit into the channels, and then come back round. Not in tune, but here we go. Yeah, so I'm going to go and paint that, put another coat of paint on that base, and then come back through here, probably change my t-shirt over, and then do the second half of the demo part of this video. So I will end this just now and catch you in what will be 15 minutes, but will be like instant for you. I might be a sneaky put an advert break in now. Rocking. Hey YouTube, I'm back. So this is the third part of this same video, probably just still the same video, so this is the point you want to skip to. So I've now got fender pickups back in this guitar, so I haven't changed the neck pickup, changed the bridge pickup. You may have just watched me do that for half an hour. So if I remember what it was I was playing the last time, it should still be in the loop pedal. Sounds much more like a telecaster now, actually. Middle position. Neck position. US Dream pedal again, and I haven't changed any of the settings from when I did the first video. I have moved the mic though, because I moved it down when I was talking, so the mic might not be in exactly the same place. Let's back up. Definitely more telly, definitely what I would have in this guitar. My first pedal, the Dynamo. Right, a wee bit on this guitar. Actually, maybe just a bit too low. Yeah, maybe you do bring the action up a little bit on those strings there. To bend that note. So I think, I've said this before, but I think there is an element of, more expensive pickups or better pickups sound better, because bareknuckle I think are pretty much about as expensive as you can get, but they've got to be the right pickups. and if you're wanting a telly to sound like a telly, I don't think you want to be putting like a hot rail pickup in it. I'm sure what it does, I mean, it sounded fantastic, but it didn't sound like a telly. This telly looks stunning, doesn't it? Again, I've changed my t-shirt, but the pink t-shirt and this telly go well together. I noticed that the other day when I was playing, I can't remember what I was playing, was it the red SG and the purple t-shirt? They seem to work really well. Maybe I'm getting a bit artistic these days. Yeah, so I think there's an element of choosing the right kind of pickup as opposed to the right brand. So it's like, this is just a telecaster-y pickup. So I think even if it was like a, rather than being like a Fender one, it was maybe a Squire one, or a, you're like even or better than that, you're like a Warman or a Iron Gear or one of those ones, it would sound more like this one. So for me, it would be better in this guitar than that bare knuckle, regardless of how expensive it was, because it's not the right kind of pickup for this guitar, or what I would think is the right kind of pickup for this guitar. It is all a subjective thing though. I mean, I play through my wee valve amp and I don't really use any pedals. If you're into chugga chugga metal and you've got piles of gain on and you're detuning and all these things, this probably isn't the sort of guitar you would have anyway. It's definitely not the sort of pickups you would put in it. I know what's the one I've done a few of, the Jim Root from Slipknot plays a Telecaster and his has got like EMGs in it. It looks like a Telecaster but doesn't sound like one, so it's like, if you were wanting that kind of guitar then fair enough, but I think the owner of this one wants a Telecaster. And to me, I suggested that I had those other pickups to put in it as well, so I'm going to put this video out tomorrow, or Saturday, today probably, and today's Thursday, isn't it? It's Thursday, so this might go out tomorrow night, and then I'll see whether he thinks that this is what he's after. To be honest, I think it is, without even trying the other ones, the one with the unobtainium things in it. I think this is, if you buy a Fender telly, you want it to sound like a Fender telly. I feel a wee bit of an element of that as well. See, when people buy, I'm going off a wee bit of a tangent here, like they buy a Gibson Les Paul or a Gibson SG, and the first thing they do before you even plug it in is buy their Seymour Duncan JB pickups, and it's like, surely if you bought a Les Paul you want it to sound like a Les Paul, so you want Les Paul pickups in it. That's the way I see it. I mean, I've got no intentions of ever changing the pickups in that. I changed pickups in my Epiphone one because the pickups in it weren't very good. But mind you, I've got so many guitars that I'd kind of, if I want a guitar to sound like a telly, I'll play my telly. I don't want my SG to sound like my telly, I want my SG to sound like an SG. But, so, long video, hope you enjoyed it. I was going to say, I was going to edit down the one when I was chopping up, when I was in at this, I had to extend wires and all the problems I came across and stuff like that, but just be doing something else. I mean, read a comic or make the dinner while it's on, and then you get the whole lot. I don't think I stopped talking long enough to really edit it without missing things out. The thing is, if I cut out some bits of the talking, then some of the things I say later on probably won't make sense because I refer back to something I said earlier on or whatever. But this is probably my favourite Fender telly I've ever played. A lot of it's to do with the look. I mean, I just think that that's an absolutely stunning body shape. I bet you it's not that popular either. I bet you these aren't that desirable because people only want the blonde one or the sunburst one. They don't want that. That's not the vintage correct. It's like, for me, this is infinitely more interesting than most of the tellies you see. Quality wise, it's a Mexican one. Mexican's alright, somewhere between a Squire and like a Japanese or American one, I suppose. Good guitars. It did have a high fret though, which is, again, it's like, I think modern guitars just do that. I think that these days you just don't get what used to be the case back in the sort of, before I was born, where a guitar shop would get guitars in and then they would set them up and then you would buy them. Whereas now I think they just come out the box, there you go, bang, and it's like, oh, high frets, and oh, not working, not in tones, and it's like, well, £100 for a setup. Which maybe works okay with like I would imagine if you're spending, I was going to say if you buy like a Les Paul at $2.5 grand, but if you want $2.5 grand, I want that guitar to play amazing, so I want that setup to be included in it. Whereas if you're talking about like buying a £100 Squire Bullet, or 110 or 20 or whatever they cost, and then having to pay £100 to set it up, you start thinking, well, would you just take them chances and just buy a £200 Squire, whatever it is, because it'll be a more expensive. The guitar's twice as expensive, so it'll be better, but it might not be set up. It's like, and there's an element of setting up where it's like it is possible, just by the law of average, some of them will come out fine. You know, I mean, my wee Epiphone SG, it always played amazing, and I'm pretty damn sure Victor Morris didn't set it up, so it just must have been whoever it was put the strings on in the factory just happened to get everything right just first go without really putting any effort into it, and it just happened to be right. Probably never checked it any more than any other one or anything like that. It's just like sometimes the neck doesn't need adjusted, and sometimes you just go, I'll just put the saddles on, and you just happen to put them in the right place. Rock on! Catch you later!